So I put them on. I found a canteen too, and I filled it with water to take along with me. Well, pretty soon I was all dressed and well outfitted for travel. The boots I had found were uncomfortable. They was loose on my feet, and they seemed hard, but I figured I'd best wear them. At least I weren't barefoot no more. I found me a hat too, but it came down clean over my ears. I put it on anyhow. I rolled up a couple of blankets to take along with me. Then at last, I came to the real treasure. Opened up a chest that was sitting on at the foot of the bed. I thought at first that it weren't nothing but a bunch of extra bedclothes, but I decided to dig a little in it. I tore quilt of blankets out till, by God, there was a sixth gun buried down there, and it was a Colt. All right, but it sure weren't the model that I had been dreaming about. It was a 41, the 1877 model, what they called Thunderer. It had a 4.5-inch barrel in it, and it was a double action revolver. There was also a box, 41 shells there, so I figured it was alright. I dropped that box of shell in my new coat pocket, and I tucked the Colt into the waistband and my brand new trousers. I looked around a little more, but I never found no money nor nothing else I felt like I really needed. And I had begun to get more nervous hanging around in that house so long. I gathered up all my ill-got gains and went outside. I was a little disappointed to be so well set up now and still a riding on old swayback. And then I recalled that the man who had rid off from that place had brung his horse out from behind the house. Just for the hell of it, I walked around there and damned if I didn't come on a little old corral with 3 good-looking riding horses in it. There was also a couple of saddles and blankets and all the necessary tack just hanging there on the fence rails, just waiting for me. Well, it didn't take me long to pick out a sweat-lean roan mare and get her all saddled up and ready to go. I was just about to ride off, and I had me a thought. I was likely to be a while before that fella came back home, but whenever he did, he for sure would know right away that he had been robbed, and almost for sure he would go to the law and tell about it. I already know that I was being hunted, and I sure didn't want to leave no clear trail. I fetched my old overhaul out of the house, and when I read out, I took them with me and laid old Swayback away too. On down the trail, I buried them overhauls under some rocks, riding along on the fine horse, settling in a good saddle, with boots on my legs, or wearing a full suit of clothes and toting a Colt 6 gun. I told myself that I was sure enough outlaw, 'cause the man I had killed, I had hit from behind with an axe handle, and my first stealing wasn't no bold hold-up neither. I was just sneak thieving. But hell, I had me a purse on my trail, and I was headed for New Mexico. I was a sure enough fugitive for justice, a living off that land and looking over my shoulder, and I felt pretty damn good about it too. I was getting to be late in the evening, and I could tell that it would be dark before long. So I needed to locate myself a likely spot for a camp for the night. While I see the thin line of trees off in the distance, and I figured that meant water. So I headed directly for them. By the time I got there, it was dark, and so it weren't the easiest thing to do to locate the spot where I wanted to lay myself down on the ground all night long. But I finally did. I had it so much back at the house, and I weren't near hungry yet. So all I done was to just take care of the horses and then spread out my blanket and lay me down asleep. Well, it was a quiet night, and in the morning I gathered up some sticks, built me a fire, had myself a hot breakfast, a bacon and beans. I rolled up my blankets, got my new horse ready to go, and then decided to try out my new colt. I checked her over, then took me a few practice shots at some rocks on the other side of the river. I weren't none good with it, but I figured I could hit a man if he was close enough to me, and I had to need to do it. Finally, I mounted up and rode on west. I left Osway back there. There was plenty of water and grass. I figured she'll be alright, and she must not give a damn about it herself, 'cause she never even made out like she'd even thought about following me. I felt pretty good riding out of there. I was thinking about how quick it comes easy to call stole stuff my own, and to feel like it really is. But after a few hours of riding along with nothing for company but the horse I was sitting on, I began to get pretty bored with my new role as an outlaw fugitive. And as the sun rose up higher in the sky, the heat commenced and came on strong. Real soon, I had to pull off my new jacket and lay it across the saddle behind me. I kept on looking around in all directions too. I said I was bored, but I wasn't relaxed. I looked ahead, looking for signs of life and for some boundary markers to tell me whenever I was leaving Texas. And I looked behind me for any sign of the pursuing posse or the pig family. I read on and on, though I never seed on the face of the whole entire earth. I stopped again, long about noon, and had myself some more beans and bacon, and had bread, and I washed it all down with a little water. Then I figured I had best give some of my water to my horse, and I done that by pouring some into the crown of my hat and holding it up for the horse to drink out of. I wished then that I'd more get something for the horse to eat, 'cause the ground round around there was pretty barren. I mounted up again and headed on west. First chance we get, I said to that holy horse, I'll feed you right good. I promise you that. I'll let you eat as long as you can stand. Come evening, I found us another watering spot, and even though there was still some good riding time left in the day, I decided to stop for the night. I figured that if I was to go on to take advantage of the daylight hours, I might not be so lucky as to come across another good camping site. I was sure too that long drinking water, I figured that if I was to go on to take advantage of the daylight hours, I might not be so lucky as to come across another good camping site. I was sure too that the mare could use some good grazing and a good long drink of water, not just a hot crown full. So I made me another camp and fixed me up another meal. Then I just laid back beside my little campfire and rested myself, waiting for the sun to go on down. And I thought back on what had for sure been the longest day of my life. All that long day, I hadn't seen another live human being, nor a horse, nor nothing man-made. I sure was longing for some company, but I know too that if I was to see anyone coming, I wouldn't know if it was the law or the piggies after me or what. I had powerful mixed feelings about the prospect of seeing people. If them piggies was to catch me, I know that they'd kill me in a minute. I didn't know what the law would do to me if it was if it was to catch me. Being as how I was just a kid, they might lock me away or they might hang me dead. I just didn't know, but I didn't want to find out neither. Finally, I went to sleep, and I guess I slept all night, though I did have some troubling dreams run through my head every now and then.